I want to make this very clear to every New Yorker. My faith guides my life and my public service career. I believe that our job as elected leaders is to help the people who need the help the most, the people who are most at risk, and the people who would fall through the cracks. No matter what our political party is, or who their family or who their elected representatives are, we should be helping these families. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. As many of you know, parenting is a full-time job. It doesn't stop when you go to work. That's exactly why access to affordable childcare is essential. It allows parents to succeed in their careers and gives children the early learning opportunities and socialization that they need to thrive. It's also why the Trump administration's announcement this week is so devastating. They are ripping funds away from childcare programs that tens of thousands of New York families rely on for their be able to go to work and for their ability to give their children access to early childhood education. The administration announced on Tuesday that they froze $10 billion in funding for childcare subsidies and social services to 5 Democratic states, including what could be more than $3 billion for New York State. This brazen political attack will hurt our families. It hurts our children. It hurts daycare providers who are already struggling to get by. While it gives massive tax breaks to big corporations and the ultra-wealthy, Donald Trump is making it harder for New Yorkers to earn a living and to make sure that children have a safe place to learn and grow. The administration claims that they are pausing these grants due to fraud, but they've not provided any evidence of this so-called fraud. We all agree fraud is unacceptable and should be investigated. Those who misuse tax dollars should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But without any proof whatsoever of fraud in New York State, this is an assault on our families and our children. It is absolutely unacceptable and it is deeply harmful. Additionally, the administration has shown time and time again that God bless you, that they actually do not care about combating fraud. In fact, since taking office, President Trump has pardoned multiple convicted fraudsters. He stripped fraud victims of restitution payments that they are entitled to, and he has fired staff at the government agencies that are given the job of preventing fraud. Let me be clear. The decision to cancel childcare has nothing to do with fraud. The truth is, it's a political attack. Donald Trump is punishing children for political gain, and New York families are unfairly paying the price. It's deeply sickening. This isn't just Washington politics. It's a direct hit on working parents trying to make ends meet. When these cuts come into effect, child care providers will almost certainly be forced to close their doors, and families will be stripped of the assistance that they rely on. This will have a ripple effect throughout the economy. Parents will have to quit their jobs and stay at home for their children. Child care workers will lose their work. They will lose their income. And children and our future will fundamentally be the ones who suffer. Fortunately, here in New York, we have very strong leaders who understand how essential childcare is. We are committed to making sure New York is the place to build a family and raise our children. Just yesterday, our Attorney General, Tish James, is taking the administration to court to reverse this freeze. And last night, the judge sided with New York, temporarily pausing the administration's actions. I thank her for her leadership, but it only makes clear that the president should reverse these actions and stop threatening our children, our families, and our providers. I also want to thank Governor Hochul and Mayor Mamdani for their leadership to launch universal child care for 2-year-olds and expand universal pre-K options here in our city and throughout our state. At the moment when the White House is pulling support away, New Yorkers are stepping up to invest in our children and invest in our future. I want to make this very clear to every New Yorker. My faith guides my life and my public service career. I believe that our job as elected leaders is to help the people who need the help the most, the people who are most at risk, and the people who would fall through the cracks. No matter what our political party is, or who their family or who their elected representatives are, we should be helping these families. I will continue to work with our state and local partners to hold the Trump administration's feet to the fire until they reverse this immoral and indefensible decision. The administration is using American families as political pawns in the most reckless and callous way they can imagine. It's wrong, and we will stand against it. I would now like to bring up Shantae Hutchinson, our parent. She's an administrative coordinator at Montefiore, and she's an 1199 union member. She's going to talk about what it means to be a mom in this moment.
Hello. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good morning.
Come closer. Stand next to your mama
Yes.
while she speaks.
Please.
Thank you. Just for her speaking moment. Thank you.
Childcare funding has provided my family with security, confidence, and opportunities. These opportunities may be minute to some and are often taken for granted until you're faced with the adversities of life. As working people, we were once overlooked and denied funding for vouchers and programs due to our income. But this program has restored the morale and confidence for working families. The program has saved me from homelessness. Often I was a delinquent tenant because my rent was constantly late or behind due to hard choices I had to make on paydays between paying rent or paying childcare, which costs almost as much as my rent, if not more. Job security, without this program, I wouldn't have been able to currently keep my employment because I have 2 little ones who are enrolled in childcare. Not being able to afford consistent childcare services resulted in me not being able to go to work, missing pay to stay home with my children. Equal education opportunities. I've been allotted the opportunity to provide both my children with the same adequate education and safe environment for schooling. I am no longer forced to decide which child will be in a better child care program or to stay home with a local babysitter. I had the option of selecting the best child care, known as Future American Learning Center. They are both currently enrolled. I would not have been able to afford this school or curriculum for both my children without this program. They have provided my family with stability and structure among education. Lastly, this program has restored my confidence and mental wellness as a parent. The most uncomfortable feeling as a parent is not being able to provide for your children. We are led to believe if we work, we can provide for our families. But lately with the economy and the cost of living, that is not the case. I now have the choice of selecting a safe environment for my children. My family now has adequate housing status, education, and necessities for living. Without this, we would not be able to survive or create a productive future. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you very much, Shanti. Well done, guys. You did great. You did great. You did great. Okay, now I'd like to welcome up our Assembly Member, Alex Boras.
Good morning. I'm Assemblymember Alex Boras. I represent the 73rd District, right where we're standing, Upper East Side, Midtown East. I want to thank the Senator for leading the fight here, bringing us together, along with my colleague in the Assembly, Chair Hevesy, who you hear from later, my colleague in the City Council, Councilmember Maloney, District Leader Panic, and all of the parents who are here. Donald Trump is playing politics with our kids, and he's using our kids to extract pain and revenge against his political opponents. Let's be very clear. He's not interested in fraud. He has no new evidence of fraud. He chose 5 Democratic-controlled states to pause all of the funding. If he wants to show evidence of fraud, I'd love to see it. If he wants to give us resources to fight fraud, I'd welcome them. But pausing the assistance that goes to everyone is not doing any of that. It's just cruelty, and it's totally, completely unacceptable. As you can see, I recently became a parent, and it is the greatest joy of my life. And it is also the most stressful thing I've ever done. Government should be focused on making it easier for people to be parents. They should be simplifying what it means to raise a kid. They should be providing basic assistance so that parents don't have added stress of figuring out how they're going to feed their kid, how they're going to provide for their kid. Donald Trump's doing the opposite. It's cruel, it's inhumane, and it's completely unacceptable.
Well said. Thank you. I would now like to invite up our chairman, Assemblymember Andrew Hevesy, our chair of the Assembly Committee on Children and Families.
Great. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I am so honored to be here with you, particularly, Senator, and my parents, friends, and our colleagues in government. Alex Boris, who's got a great future ahead of him, as does new council member Maloney, and congratulations to you. Senator, I did want to start by saying thank you for all the work that you've done for childcare in particular, but one piece that I don't think I've ever brought up with you before is a former staffer of yours, Sarah Clark, is now an assembly member from the Rochester area, and she is one of the leaders in childcare, and she learned that from you, so I wanted to say thank you. What the federal government is doing now is a disgrace. Let me start with that this affects childcare, but it's bigger than that. So my understanding is this will affect 300,000 New Yorkers. It's about $3.4 billion in total cut. There's $626 million being cut from childcare, is my understanding. Another $93 million from social services block grants. So that's money for domestic violence survivors and kids. And then for the TANF block grant, it's $2.7 million in cuts. That's kids who are homeless, kids with special needs, every vulnerable New Yorker possible. So let's just make sure we're clear on what happened here. The first action of the federal government is to start hurting children. Before they know anything, they have no tangible evidence, haven't shown any tangible evidence, but this is the first thing that they do. We're going to start hurting kids right away for whatever political purpose. It's disgraceful, and it's one of the most un-American things I've ever seen. So we now have a judge who stood up to this onslaught, and I'm thankful to Tish James for her work. I want everybody to know that we're going to stand together. We will get through this together, like we will all of the other attacks from the Trump administration. But this one is particularly galling and un-American. And I'm so proud to stand with the senator and my colleagues here today to make sure that everybody knows we're going to fight back against this and make sure that the cuts are not sustained. Thank you for allowing me to be here, Senator.
Well
Thank
said.
you.
Very much. I'd now like to welcome up Councilmember Virginia Maloney.
Thank you so much. We are all here today because Trump's administration made the cruel and unwarranted decision to block billions of dollars in federal funding for childcare subsidies, social services, and cash support for low-income families in states that he just doesn't like. Here in New York, these cuts will directly harm working families, including our most vulnerable children. When funding for programs like the Childcare and Development Fund and temporary assistance to needy families is frozen, families feel it immediately. Child care centers struggle to stay open, parents face impossible choices, and children lose stability through no fault of their own. As we've seen repeatedly from this administration, there is no justification for this disruption and no plan to deal with the fallout for parents and children. A federal judge has temporarily blocked this freeze, but families should not have to depend on court intervention to protect basic child care funding. Child care is vital economic infrastructure. When you undermine it, families pay the price, working mothers pay the price, our entire economy pays the price. New York has worked hard to treat child care as essential because it is. Just over the week, Governor Hochul and Mayor Mondami announced a major step forward with universal childcare here in New York because we know these actions pull the rug out from under families. I've watched friends and neighbors leave New York, not because they want to, but because they can't afford to raise a family here. Childcare costs are the biggest reasons why. When the federal government pulls support, instead of strengthening it, they accelerate that exodus. I'm proud to stand with Senator Gillibrand, Assemblymember Boras, and Assemblymember Hevesi to demand that this funding be restored immediately. Families should not be collateral damage to reckless decisions made on a whim in the White House. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you. Any on-topic questions from the press?
Have you reached out to the church? Have you directly spoken with them? Anybody there? Any response from them?
We've written a letter demanding that this child care funding be restored. We have done enormous amounts of social media to get to the president to say what he's done is wrong, unethical, and immoral. And we'll keep speaking out. Today's press conference is another message to the White House to restore this funding. The lawsuit filed by Tish James is another message to the White House to restore this funding. So we're using every means we know of to try to bring the president's attention to the harm he is causing to everyday New Yorkers, to parents across this country for no reason, because his fraud allegation is false. It is an excuse, not a reason, and there's no evidence of it. So we're doing everything we can to make him aware. And one of the reasons why we've invited so many families to come and stand with us is that he can see the face of the suffering that he is going to cause. He will see the parents whose lives he will throw into disarray. He will see the children whose opportunities will vanish. And he will see the harm he is causing directly. So that's why we're here today, to let him know.
And did you happen to speak with the other states, the other 4 states?
They're in collaboration with our Attorney General, and they all filed a lawsuit together.
Is that funding the same funding Governor Hochul and Mayor Mondami was using to provide global
So the truth of funding is we are responsible for sending billions of dollars to New York State to do all the things that the governor sees fit to do. One of those things is to invest in childcare. So we traditionally provide block grants, childcare block grants to the state. And every year for the last decade and a half, I've been working to increase the amount of block grants that come to the state. So when President Trump cancels out that federal money that's coming here, it's just making Governor Hochul's life so much harder. Because if she wants to fund universal child care for 2-year-olds, she's going to have to take money from somewhere else. The federal money that would be coming to her so she can balance her budget and deploy our federal dollars. These are our federal dollars that we send to Washington in the way that the voters have asked her to. It becomes much harder. So ultimately, this money is 100% related. Now, thank God, we have a governor and a mayor who care deeply about childcare and are going to prioritize funding to make this happen. They're going to prioritize, I think they said another $2 billion. Is that what their announcement was? To prioritize funding. But it means there's less funding for other things. And we know how many needs there are across this state. Any other on topics? Great. Thank you guys for coming. Great.